All right, welcome back to Pharmacist on Call. Your host, Dr. Sean Pruitt, community pharmacist of the world. So we've got James here on hold. I wanted to let him finish his thoughts. So James, you are now free to finish your thoughts, sir. I think we're waiting on James because he insists on keeping his TV up and it's causing a delay there.
I wanted to let him finish his thoughts. So James, you are now free to finish your thoughts, sir. I think we're waiting on James because he insists on keeping his TV.
All right, we're going to call with James there. Looks like he went and made him a sandwich or something. Pharmacist on Call, let me help you. Hello, Teresa?
Yes.
How can I help you today, ma'am?
Oh, I was just calling in with a question about the Johnson & Johnson shots.
Okay, fire away.
Yes. I was calling in about the Johnson & Johnson.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
About the Johnson & Johnson vaccines. Where can you find where they're giving those?
Now, that I don't know. In fact, we're going to be giving vaccines, but we haven't gotten any word on what kind we're getting. I'm assuming it's going to be Moderna, but we have no word, and I'm not even sure if the other places know. So what you would have to do is, I guess, call around to see who they've been delivered to. I'm not sure if anybody's gotten them in Tennessee yet.
Oh, okay.
But I would ask the health department. They may be able to give you better direction.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. All right, thank you.
Good evening.
You too. All right. Nancy, welcome to Pharmacist on Call. Let me help you.
Hi, I have a question.
Fire away.
How do you feel about the vaccine? Do you think we should get it?
That's kind of a tricky question. So I was waiting on this for months, so somebody finally asked me. We have to, let me explain something to you first, what the vaccine does. Okay. So what the vaccine does is it is trying to boost your immune system by, and I'm speaking of the RNA vaccines.
Right.
They are manipulating your body into producing a piece of the virus, which is a spike protein, and getting your body to produce antibodies to that. You know, and I cannot lie that there have been some deaths from people who have had the vaccine. There have been people who have been had issues with Bell's palsy and some other issues. The way that I have conducted my practice as a pharmacist is, if I cannot research and verify that it works, and if I cannot research and verify that it is safe, I don't recommend it. And so I don't put my name on anything that I can't even get a full answer on what the ingredients are. So do I recommend it? Professionally, I can't. Now, you have to keep in mind you have other people who work under medical systems who may be under the influence of Big Pharma that will tell you that it is safe. But from what I'm seeing, I cannot 100% confidently tell you that this vaccine is safe, especially in lieu of problems that some people are having. Now, some people appear to be doing just fine. Of course, you know, they'll get the sickness and, of course, the pain in their arm. You know, those are the immediate effects. The issue is we have no research on what the long-term effects are. And so just like these, even though there are supplements, there is research to support their safety and how well they work. This vaccine is a new thing, and so I can't professionally recommend it. So what I tell people, if you feel that you have enough information that, you know, you think it is safe, then go ahead, you know, and even in spite of my opinion, I will give it to those who feel that they need it. But what I don't want to happen is you all listen to the show and you trust me, you take the vaccine, something happens to you, and you come back on the next episode, man, Dr. Pruitt, you told me, you know, and blah, 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 so happened, or I lost a loved one. And I'm not gonna put my name on that. But what I will put my name on is Dr. Pruitt's potion that I have seen turn the course of the virus around in people, that I have seen people take and not contract the virus since June of last year, me included. So this I could speak on. The ingredients here are eons old. and they have been demonstrated to be safe. They have been demonstrated to be effective. But again, for those of you who feel that you need the vaccine, hey, no judgment. I know a lot of people were scared from their first experience with it, and they don't want to encounter that again. But what I'm telling
Will
you
you
is,
get the shot?
absolutely not. No.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So I guess that's the short answer.
You've answered my question.
Okay.
Give me something to think about.
Yes, ma'am. I would think long and hard.
You have a good day.
Yes, ma'am. You too. Thank you for your question. Okay. Jonathan, welcome to Pharmacist on Call. May I help you?
Yes, sir. I had a question concerning your thoughts on the efficacy of mask wearing.
You know, initially I was like, it didn't make sense to me, knowing how small viral particles are.
Sure.
But I think that mask wearing in combination with social distancing appears to have worked. But it seemed that even though we were mask wearing, that the numbers were still trending up. And that is because we had a certain segment of the population who bucked against mask wearing. And so I think that's why we saw that trend up. I think everybody, by and large, now understands that this virus is real. They kind of signed on to the mask wearing and may be partially responsible for the downward trend. Do I wear my mask? Absolutely. Because I think it is efficacious, depending on the material that you have. So.
Right. Well, I guess my question is, so you talked about trending up and that people bucking the mandates might be the cause of that, you know, causality, but correlation doesn't equal causation. And like in my state, cases went up 500% after the governor's mask mandate. I personally work in retail and in a rural area where there are, you know, gruff old, good old boy construction worker types, you know, and every one of them were wearing the mask despite feeling that this was all kind of crap. And so you wouldn't expect to see a 500% increase in cases with, you know, a ton of people starting to wear the mask.
Where are you, by the way, Jonathan?
You know, like, what's that?
What state are you in?
I'm in Kentucky, Bowling Green to be specific.
Okay. Now, let me qualify that statement with this. The people that I'm around and you're around, they're practicing good practices while they're with us. Now, we don't know what these same good old boys are doing once they get off. And they may go hang out with their buddies who are anti-maskers or whatever. I just made that up. And they may not be safe during that period of time when they're in their leisure time and they contract it then. You follow me?
Sure. But I suppose that I shouldn't have used anecdote to begin. So, like, the first ever randomized clinical trial on the efficacy of masks concerning virus prevention was carried out in 2006 in Vietnam with 1,600 healthcare workers, and the study had abysmal results concerning virus prevention. There was another study in 2011 that virtually concluded the findings in 2006. Hell, Fauci himself wrote a study, co-authored a study rather, I don't want to misspeak, in 2008 on the subject of the Spanish flu that concluded that 80% of the people who died in 1918 rather, didn't die from the Spanish flu, but they died from bacterial pneumonia they contracted from their masks.
Well, and I think I remember him initially saying that mask wearing was ridiculous. So, yeah.
Well, I don't just mean ridiculous, I mean dangerous.
Yeah, certainly if you're not changing them or washing them, absolutely.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, and then, you know, you have like I guess my problem is not necessarily, I'm all for efficacious prevention methods, right? If it helps, it helps. But if it doesn't help and it's just kind of this pseudo-moralistic grandstanding, I have difficulty, especially on a political level, with governors mandating things like, for instance, Duke University did a study on neck gaiters and the N95 with the breather valve in it, and found that it was worse than wearing nothing at all. And yet the governors did not mandate anything beyond that. So it seems to me that it's more about looking like you want to help, not necessarily wanting to help on a scientific level. I
would agree. Yeah, okay. I would agree. Yeah, so with that, you know, it's a mixed bag. You know, in the end, we don't know. I think it does help in some cases, especially when it keeps the aerosols from being transmitted. In some cases, I think the mask wouldn't have protected you anyway. It's just depending on the environment and the mask itself.
But as far as the aerosols are concerned, I mean, even on the CDC website, respiratory etiquette, as they call it, with coronavirus is a little different from respiratory etiquette where the flu is concerned. And they still, on their own website, don't necessarily have good data to show that that's a preventative method for viruses. You know, even hand washing, social distancing, things like that. Actually, hand washing is probably the best one they have data for. Everything else, they have data to show that it might be counterproductive, you know?
Yeah. Now, I mean, in this new culture of fear, standards are being changed. And so whereas, yes, hand washing makes sense, probably not as profitable as mask wearing and the like. So I'd be the first to admit that. Is there politics involved? Absolutely. It's America. You know.
Right. Sure. I would ask: Have you by chance looked into that study? I was blown away to find the first ever randomized clinical trial on masks wasn't performed until 2006, given how long they've been around as personal protection equipment.
No, but I would be interested in taking a look at that, and then you call me on the April show.
It was in 2006 in Vietnam. You could just type in, just Google, first ever randomized clinical trial with cloth and reusable masks. And it's pretty crazy, the results. As a matter of fact, they concluded that the wearer was at greater risk of self-infection than they were protection from viruses.
I can see that.
Man, you have been a pleasure to talk to. I got to be honest with you. You seem very level-headed and open-minded.
Yeah, I try to be.
Yeah,
all right, appreciate
your call. Everybody were the same way.
It's not how it works. All right, Jonathan, we appreciate your call, man. Call back next month.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much.
Yes, sir. All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
All righty, bye-bye. Let's see here who we've got left. Pharmacist on call. I may help you. Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Okay, a couple of years ago, I came down to your office or your clinic down on Dixon Road, and I wanted to get some of that water. And I was asking some of your staff and where I go get the water and everything about it. They wasn't helping me at all. They wasn't trying to assist me, so I got frustrated and I went on left. And ever since then, it's been a bad deal with me thinking about coming back down now. Because they were just standing around at the counter. They weren't trying to help me.
Okay.
But what I want to really call about, if the other caller, he said he's about 62. I'm the same age. And I was on the fence about taking this, especially if I'm a soldier in the service, you see.
Absolutely.
Because I got messed up with the water down in Carolina, and I've been on disability ever since then. The water really messed my system up down there when I was in the service. They get a really honorable discharge. But I really want to say, though, I really was angry that they didn't give the soldiers the shots first. Because, you know, if I'm 80-something or 90-something, I've lived my life. Yeah, reality is set into me. I've lived my life. I've seen all the stories and glory. These young people should have got that shot. Why would you go and put the shot up at the older people? They're not, in reality, they're not helping society. They're not bringing income. They're wearing down on the population, but they're not trying to help you out. I mean, that was just, to go all the way up there in the 80s and 90s, giving shots. No.
Okay, let me answer.
They didn't even give the military no shots first. That's what we should have done, because that's the one protecting the country with.
Well, let me answer your question.
I don't care what nobody said about that.
Well, let me answer your question right quick. First of all, let me apologize for the experience you had at the pharmacy. Come on back down there. We'll take care of you with the water, so there won't be any standing around. That's been eliminated. Now, to answer your question, the premise is they want to protect the most vulnerable. Now, the most vulnerable are those who are up in age, and that's why they have opted to give the vaccine to older individuals. Now, yeah, they live their life, but I guess Earth is somewhat humanitarian, and we don't want to just discard our seniors like that. You know, in about 20 years, you're going to be one of those folks. So we still want to show them that we love and respect them and care for them. So since they're being the most vulnerable, we would want to provide access to care with them as a higher priority. You follow me?
Right, but just to prove it, the medical staff want to have priority. Somebody like you can bring wisdom, bring concept into the situation and give advice. Because I respect you. You know, I know you can't be brought off to politicians or be biased on the situation. You're going to be straight up. And that's what I'm looking for. Somebody like you to be straight up. Here's what it's about. That's up to you. You know, don't blame me. I just laid it out there for you. You make your own choice. See, that's what people need, you know. And then to come to find out the president, him and his wife and got shot since they've been out. You know, they come out, you know, that's ugly. And these politicians that got involved, they done already got their shots, the people in Congress. They got their shots for the senior citizens, got as Congress and the senators. So something, you know, something is really off right here, really off bad. And I want to take your advice on what I need to do, because I got children and a few grandchildren, and I didn't try to go around them. I tried to stay away from them. I even tried to tell my friends, I need to go shopping. No, you don't. I need to go to a restaurant to eat. No, you don't. I cooked all my food at home, wore my mask, and got away from all that crowd.
All right, sir, I hate to interrupt you, but we're up on a commercial break, so if you can give me a call at the pharmacy, we can finish our discussion.
Thank you so much, Dr. Pruitt.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate everything you're doing. You're a blessing.
Okay, all right, thank you, sir. All righty, bye-bye. All right, everyone, stay right there. I see the phones lighting up. We're going to get to you. We'll be right back.